AskReddit by obese butterfly. Forget drugs, smoking and alcohol. What is something bad for your health that people don't talk about enough? Backflips are dangerous but no one talks about it cause they're fucking dope. Every once in a while, I'm reminded of why I spend so much time on Reddit. Thank you. Grind culture. We need rest, hobbies, and socialization outside of work. We need that balance. I take one day a week where I don't work at all, like household chores or anything. And the shame I get for not washing the dishes or doing a small order for my business on this one day baffles me. Like my husband and I work our butts off 6 days a week, and can't take one day to read and paint and play guitar? Not getting enough sleep. Some people even boast about only needing a few hours a night, but that could be very damaging in the long term. Drowsy driving is estimated to cause 6,000 fatal car crashes a year. Driving after being awake for over 20 hours is as impaired as driving with 0.08% blood alcohol level, and after 24 hours that goes up to approximately 0.10% back. And none of this even touches on the neuropsychological damage that lack of sleep causes. Sitting down all freaking day. For 15 years, I spent 90% of my day on my feet. The last 3 years I only spend about 10% on my feet. I have more body aches now than before. Stress. Deleted. Doom scrolling. Your mental health is not going to improve if you force yourself to look at ceaseless pain, and when your mental health deteriorates too much or too fast, it impacts your ability to care for your physical health. I've got in such a bad habit of just scrolling on my phone as soon as I wake up or get home. I just don't know how to break it. Staying at a job that is slowly killing you. Employers no longer award dedicated work. Don't sacrifice your well-being for a millionaire billionaire's bottom dollar, edited to add billionaires, because that's fair. I continuously reminded myself to work my wage. Yesterday I started to feel stress or pressure to work my ass off. Nope. I'll worry myself as much as my wage is worth. Being lonely. I feel like my mother's steep mental decline was caused by her unwillingness and inability to socialize. Chronic hatred. I have someone who works for me who is consumed by this. I took over as her boss about a year ago. Probably once a week minimum I hear something about her ex-husband. She is constantly talking about her divorce, unpaid child support, unpaid spousal support, etc. About 6 months into knowing her she said something about child support ending that caused me to ask, when did you get divorced? 17 years ago. I was stunned. The whole time I had known her I thought the divorce had just happened. The longest I thought was 3 years. Nope. Closing in on 2 decades. She is about to turn 40. She looks older than my wife who is 57. Hate has aged her like you wouldn't believe. Not washing your thrift finds before you wear them. New clothes, too. There can be chemicals and dye present that get absorbed into your skin. Mentally speaking, constantly watching the news. All there is negativity. I personally try to stay away from news, whether it be local or national, as all it does is upset me. I am so much happier now that I don't watch the news. I still read it, some, not much, but the constant fear and hatred is really sickening. Being sedentary, everyone has seen it from someone or done it themselves. Get up and move a bit, you've been sitting there for 6 hours. Came here to say this one. I work in healthcare and it's absolutely shocking to see the drop in quality of life for people that are sedentary. You don't have to be out running triathlons or anything, but there's a stark general health difference between someone that goes for a walk every day and someone that doesn't. Poor air quality in big crowded cities. You notice the difference if you go elsewhere where there's fresher air and come back. That's what I was thinking. I keep remembering at the start of COVID and bam, air quality change was insane all over the world. Stopping learning. When people retire with nothing else to do, their cognition declines very rapidly. Read, do puzzles, find a hobby or craft, keep your mind working. This is so true. My grandmother shut off her brain and you could tell. My grandfather, on the other hand, stayed intellectually curious until the end. He lived 6 years longer than she did and he was already 4 years older than her. Poverty. Yes, being poor is bad for your health. You can't afford the good food so you eat what's cheap, which is also bad for your health. You can't afford to see a doctor so you learn to live with pain. You can't afford to take time off so you stress out more and more. Poverty is the leading cause of bad health, period. I agree 100%. It's also the most expensive and hardest to improve. Mortgages are cheaper than rent but you'll never be able to save to buy because living day to day costs too much. Comparing your day to day life to the curated life of those on social media. Preconceived notions. We have these ideas and images of the way things are supposed to be, and we get ourselves stressed out trying to make it happen, or complaining that it's not. Comparison is the thief of joy. And X200B. Someone I know always says how everyone else's house is neater than theirs, and everything seems so well organized there, and I'm like, when you have people over, you clean up and hide the mess. You are comparing your 7 PM on a school night, right after everyone ate dinner and there are school bags and shoes everywhere, to their 7 PM on a Saturday evening, where they have planned on having people to their house. The beige food diet. No green. No color other than shades of brown. Just carbs and meat, or meat and carbs. Corn as a vegetable. Just me staring at my half-empty bowl of shredded chicken, brown rice, black beans and corn, no G's. Dental care. People don't pay attention to proper dental hygiene and it's scary how many lose their teeth early in life simply out of lazy neglect. I'm editing my response as it's not fair to assume every single person is lazy. Dental care and surgical oral procedures can be very expensive and can definitely be cost prohibitive, as well as dealing with mental health and other issues that can detract from addressing dental care on a consistent basis. I just wish they weren't treated like luxury bones. Sugar. Gaining more notoriety, but never enough to really combat the issue, at least in the US. Checking nutrition facts for added sugar is like grocery store doom scrolling. Screen addiction. Video games, movies, social media, Reddit, the internet in general. It's real. It does terrible things to your mental and physical health. The amount of people I see scrolling while driving is horrendous. I really feel like people's attention spans are non-existent now. Not brushing your teeth regularly. Teeth only ever get worse on their own. It takes a small effort to maintain their current level, and it's nearly impossible to recover without replacement or patchwork once you get to that point. If anything hurts at all, you've waited too long. Low self-esteem. Agree 100%. Sadly, it's not talked enough. In my teens I always had low self-esteem. It's really draining to always think if you look good enough or if you are capable of doing something. In my case, you just feel worthless, and eventually this leads to so many mental health problems. Not caring for yourself. Not moving your body. Now I'm not talking running or lifting heavy daily, but moving it within your means. If you don't use it, it won't work. I mean, think about a car. If you let it sit too long, it won't start right. The healthiest elders I know are those who go for daily walks or at least move as much as they can. Stigma surrounding mental health. It's killing people every day. Sleep apnea. It can lead to type 2 diabetes, strokes, heart attacks, and even a shortened lifespan. I'm 43 and quite fit. Well, I like to think so. Don't smoke, don't drink, etc. And I've been stuck with the old CPAP for 3 years now. My sleep doctor says I have a lazy neck. He explained that to me, but alas, I've forgotten, and my brain forgets to tell my body to breathe overnight as well. Looks like I'm stuck with it. Sugar, specifically too much sugar or added sugar. Plastic. Letting things like ADHD go untreated. There was a whole wave of parents in the 90s 2000s that didn't get treatment for their kids with ADHD, and claimed they were indigo children. Just quirky and different. However, when untreated, those same people tend to grow up not knowing how to control their impulses, and getting themselves in a lot of trouble because of it. People with ADHD are also prone to more anxiety and depression. Edit. Wanted to change a word, but also to add that I relate so heavily with people who have commented so far. I'm 26 and am barely taking steps to get help. I started therapy, research on how to live with ADHD, and my therapist is working with me to see what medication my insurance covers. But it took a lot to get here. I got married to someone abusive at 20, started and failed out of community college, and racked up so much credit card debt that I can barely breathe when I think about it. But now, I'm pending a divorce and with a partner who is supportive every step of the way, and taking all of these steps is helping me cope better. I hope the best for all of you. Untreated neurodivergency is so incredibly stressful, and it's the chronic stress that ruins us, I think. Porn, in particular easy access to really extreme pornographic content. The normalization of the use of porn at a young age and increasingly bizarre and niche fetish content. Having a fetish is fine, but porn often fetishizes unhealthy and borderline abusive sexual relationships, specifically with power dynamics between men and women, and presents wildly unrealistic ideas of how both men and women should and can be treated and perceived. Women definitely get the worst deal in terms of how they are presented in porn, and treated abused by the porn industry, but men aren't immune or free from mistreatment and harm. Men tend to be the target audience for a much of porn content, and are easy victims for porn addiction and increasingly extreme content, while women are treated as a resource to be exploited and discarded without care. I've read numerous accounts of women who had nightmare exp. I do see porn addiction discussed sometimes, but the really extreme nature of a lot of content, as well as how pervasive it's become and how easy it is to access, is still something I don't think we discuss enough. Depression destroys your life. You may not try to quickly unlive yourself, but not caring for yourself, bathing, brushing your teeth, taking care of your physical and mental health, none or bad life choices, etc., will hasten a very difficult end. How emotionally draining it is to be one personality at work and another at home. American fast food and grocery store processed food. It's mostly oversalted, oversweetened, overoiled garbage. I feel like people talk a lot about the US's food problem. High fructose, corn syrup, and thanks to the corn lobby in the US they sneak it into everything. Pickles? Check. Applesauce? Check. Fruit juice? Check. Baby formula? It's the primary ingredient in some. Ginger ale is literally just HFCS and water. Most of the time I find myself buying organic groceries just to avoid the added corn syrup. Sleep deprivation. Sure, everyone has heard that you should get solid sleep, but lack of sleep increases risk for basically everything bad. Not to mention how dangerous you become while driving. Working 8 hours a day 5 days a week. Think of how much better your days are when you get to leave an hour early. Or how much more you can do on weekends with 3 days off. Absolutely. It's a terrible schedule. I now work in academia as an adjunct instructor and the amount of autonomy I have is amazing. I will hopefully never have to work in that kind of 8-5 grind. Staying in bad relationships. Spending all day on Reddit asking and answering questions, 8 posts, reading shit, watching people die on our war, etc. High fructose corn syrup. No exercise which relieves stress. The sun. Seriously, if you're exposed to sunlight all day, even just driving your car, you need to put on some sunscreen. Your skin will thank you in the future. Knew this woman who was a truck driver for 30 years. She had skin cancer on the side of her body that was exposed to the sun. Alpha male dickheads on YouTube. My cousin's wife is a high school English teacher and she has some stories about the effect those people have on kids. Suppressing your emotions and always putting on a smile. Gave me dissociative disorder. People sit all day for work, drive in a car, then sit at home and doom scroll. Your body needs to move. People need to go for a walk or work out. Loose Lego on the floor. A straight piece of cat kibble has a similar effect. Magnesium deficiency. Not traceable in regular blood work. Responsible for many issues. Far more common than expected.